here, and that is something that we have seen time and time again be somewhere you can potentially look right here. If your Kael in the mid lane maybe wants to be grabbing that one for himself, you always have to be a little bit worried though, because that is something that you can definitely pick up for yourself if you are Shanks and totally take over a game.
Yeah, Kara's been surprisingly pretty damn good on the Yone in prior FPX games, but because that has been taken away, we're not going to be seeing the Sejuani combo, and FPX go for the next best jungler that is still available after game 1, and it is the Troll King himself.
Yeah, not surprising to see that Trundle locked in. It also just changes the equation on how many tanks you need or how tanks are going to be effective coming into these later stages. So AL, lots of questions for them right now. Still a bunch of very strong champions still available. If you want something nice and easy, the Azir, the Orianna, we haven't seen those gone towards so far, but they can be picked up nice and early with a lot of impunity. Instead, actually, the decision going to be towards the bottom lane. We haven't seen bottom lane picked this early in a while, but actually looking to secure a very aggressive bot lane early on for Hope and Kael. And hey, if you want something aggressive, the Corki, very strong at the moment.
And while Corki isn't the longest range AD carry in the game, which can present some problems depending on what FPX lock in for themselves, at least Corki has the armor shred on his Gatling gun, so if we go super late and FPX go for a Trundle Scion combo here, you have at least some way of being able to deal with the tanks as long as anyone's legend has other champions that can create space for them.
Ooh, okay, the decision here out of FPX is going to be, nah, we can go toe-to-toe. We want to get aggressive down in this bottom side. I do wonder if you want to pick yourself up the Braum at this point. Otherwise, I think that champion is just going to get taken off of the board very quickly.
Come on, lock it in. I shouldn't have gotten excited. Oh, because the last time that FPX had a moment where JiaQi early locked in a Lucian, they went for Taric. And I was thinking, oh, they can lock it in here. And then I thought, it might be too early. The Nautilus pivot makes sense. Still going to be sad, but whatever. FPX, they've got to win games, and this is where they think is going to give them the best opportunity. Anyone's legend rounding out this first round with Azir for Shanks.
They've been breaking your heart all day, and they're going to keep going with that one. I can see the sadness in your eyes right there. Still, I'm not surprised that we end up seeing the Azir. I was wondering if that was going to get picked up a little bit earlier on for FPX potentially, but instead, that one's going to be given over to Shanks, and he's had some monster performances on this pickup. The amount of damage he can do is nuts.
I will say, Bloxxer, there's a chance for my happiness to return tenfold, because Tarzan has yet to pick his champion for this draft. They have left it up for both Flandre and Tarzan on these last two selections. Now, more than likely, Tarzan will be picking his jungler of choice just to preserve counterpick for Flandre in R5. But FPX already knew.
They're recognizing
thinking, like, hey, wait a minute.
Yo.
The Z answer was available.
Yep. And it's because, at this point, there's been many opportunities for you to pick up one of the other strongest junglers that we've still got available, right? We still haven't seen the Vi go off of the board. You've still got the Xin Zhao as something you can pick up for yourselves. And again, if you're looking standard, but something a little bit more tanky, the Maokai, also available, something that Tarzan's been playing. And so that is setting some alarm bells off for FPX. They think something wild is coming through right here. I like the Z ban. I do wonder if they're going to put another ban towards some of these more interesting picks in the jungle. Do you want to take the Sylas off of the board? Do you think that's the angle potentially?
It's not bad with the Azir because you can go for a AP Bruiser build like Riftmaker, Bloodletter's Curse, and so you just act as another body and you can shred MR and make it even better for Shanks. The Aurora ban, there's no Rumble on the board, but still something that Flandre could pick up for himself in the top lane. Anyone's legend, they might just go for something standard here. They're gonna tease with the hovers here, but they surely have to save counterpick for Flandre, and in the end, it's just a Jarvan.
It's just the Jarvan being locked in. Something that actually, I think Tarzan hasn't been able to pick himself up a win on yet. So one of these champions, he's still hunting for that first one. In this composition, I really like it. You've now got yourselves what would be a wombo combo if you had someone to just drop something like the Equalizer on top. Obviously, the Rumble off of the board. So you're just going to go for something a little bit more stand in the top lane, potentially. I do wonder if we're going to end up with some sort of Ambessa, although into the Renekton, you don't want that lane matchup. That is squeezing out what Flandre can pick here a little bit more. FPX, though, this composition feels like it's a lot of disparate parts and not so much one solid identity at the moment.
We have point and click engage from the Nautilus that can help set up for the Lucian. And that's it. FPX would have to go for something else.
Stop getting paid, bro. Stop getting paid. It's never going to be interesting. These teams refuse to play things that are wild or out there. Just going to be the Ahri locked in. A nice easy matchup into the Azir. A little bit of extra roam potential that you can now pair up quite nicely. I think the Trundle Ahri together, getting into these side lanes could be very fun. As long as you know, are a little bit careful with those early bits of setup. Flandre going to go towards the Gnar. Good matchup right here into the Renekton. You shouldn't get pushed around too much. And it gives you that extra bit of wombo ability for AL.
Alright. Gnar Jarvan combo. That's a classic ever since Gnar's induction into the game back in Season 5, so that'll be fun. I'm grasping at straws of things to be excited about in terms of novelty. We don't get to see Gnar nearly as often as we have in prior metas, but for FPX, single target pick is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Ruthless Predator from Renekton, Depth Charge from Nautilus. You can follow up easily with Kael's Ahri. I imagine that the point of this game for FPX is you have a lot of early mid-game power. Your late-game scaling is not really comparable to what anyone's legend can have the later the game goes on. So it's all about FPX trying to be a little bit more proactive than they were in the first game of the series, which is something that we were calling for, Bloxxer.
Absolutely, that can be the excitement in this game. What can IYY do? The Trundle has been one of the strongest junglers that we've had, really exploded onto the Rift here in this split number 3, and you've got a couple of members that are going to be tankier. The Jarvan, you could just rip his head off. Same thing with Flandre's Gnar when he's in that mega form, so you have options, you have ways to get into this game, but you're absolutely right. FPX, they need to start it going early on, because AL, once they get into these later, mid to late game team fights, their composition just shines.
Can FunPlus Phoenix find themselves a surge in this second game, or will anyone's legend close out the series 2-0? Let's hit the Rift for our second game between FPX and anyone's legend.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Admirable Giles from both sides. IYY already getting aggressive into Tarzan's jungle. He should be able to win out on the just straight up auto attack war. However, between Tarzan and Shanks, they're able to get a nasty chunk onto IYY's health bar.
Should be able to just go and take a reset at this point. You're just going to heal decently well while you're in your clear as the Trundle, so not going to be the end of the world. I do wonder if you're going to keep being aggressive, though. You can see it's going to be a little bit of a spot out, at least, onto the bot lane for AL, but they're not going to be able to push on into the jungle and make IYY's life any more difficult at this early on stage. Looking quickly through the runes that we've got available, nothing that is too surprising. It's not going to be that speedy composition that we saw last time around.
Flandre opting in for the Fleet of Footwork ever since the Grasp of the Undying rune got a little bit nerfed over the past couple of months. Fleet has kind of re-emerged as a better sustain option for certain champions and certain matchups, and the extra movement speed boost is also very nice in continuing to space out something like a Renekton, who can struggle into the Gnar if he cannot lock him down.
Exactly. Just gives you that little bit of extra survivability as well. And to be fair, aggression, knowing Flandre, he really likes to just take up space on the Gnar. He's one of the best that I've been able to watch at being able to actually manage that rage and get into these team fights at the absolute peak of it. I've seen a couple Gnars recently arriving to team fights, no Gnar bar activated whatsoever, no rage built up, and just not able to get involved in these fights. I'd be very surprised if we see any basic mistakes like that from Flandre.
I mean, my goodness, Flandre already getting a huge chunk onto Sheer's health bar at level 2. Sheer can't even step up to the wave safely for that empowered Cole the Meek for the sustain, and Flandre is holding him very honest in this lane so far. IYY went for the full 3 camps on his red side, trying to invade Tarzan on the top side and challenge him in his own red side camps. And while Trundle can beat Jarvan in the 1v1, IYY is going to have to be pretty fast about what he wants to do here, because Tarzan is just running him around the jungle, and he has the camp advantage at the moment, so IYY, I'm not sure what he's getting accomplished here.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to do this because you do have the push in the mid and the top lane, so you're trusting that you're not going to get jumped. Oh, hang on.
Oh. And Kael getting aggressive onto the bottom side of the map. Ignite already forced out of Jwei's Nautilus, so Hope gets dropped. Flash! It's answered by Hope's own Flash, making sure that he could get away from the empowered auto attack from Jwei's Nautilus there.
They're still going!
Oh my gosh! IYY just does not want to let Tarzan get off easy. But the pillar is traded for an EQ flag. Are we just going to be perennially stuck here in this topside jungle?
At this point for IYY, you literally can't afford to walk away. You have to commit to this one. Tarzan just keeps ringing around the rosy. Like you said, this is Tarzan, buddy. You have to. But what can he do, right? As Tarzan, you give up your topside camps. You go and invade your opponent's camps. You immediately get collapsed upon because your opponents have the push. It doesn't actually change anything. IYY... He's going back in. Raafaa's going back in. Raafaa, no.
He really wants Tarzan to not get this red buff at all. He has the freedom to do it
double
since
scuttle.
Kael has Shanks pushed
Go get
in.
the double scuttle, please.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean, at the very end of the day, IYY will be able to secure double scuttle away from Tarzan, but Tarzan is still collecting all of his camps on his side of the map.
This is payback, isn't it? Previous game, we watch IYY get chased around his jungle, not able to take any camps. This time, the Trundle doesn't actually have the ability to catch up, but you're still able to go for it. Now Shanks going to get hooked right here. Does have Tarzan in the area, is just going to be able to shuffle himself away. Still, though, I like that early little bit of aggression on the roam right here from Jwei. We wanted more proactive plays out of FPX, and they certainly aren't sitting on their laurels at the start of this one.
IYY definitely took that game one personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go that far in just chasing Tarzan around, but at the end of the day, your power as Trundle can fall off, especially now that we're on the 15.16 patch, where Trundle's W scaling on his attack speed is lower the later the game goes on, and just trying to prevent Tarzan on getting to that level 6 mark. It makes sense. But he hasn't been able to influence any of the lanes, especially this top lane that is going extremely well for Flandre at the moment. Yep. He has already hit level 6 and threatening to push Sheer out of this lane.
I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see any of the... Oh, hang on.
Sheer just hit level 6, looks for the Ruthless and Predator.
Oh my!
God, Sheer finds one window of a mistake from Flandre and gets first blood.
And this is not what we were expecting to see. And the action just continues. Hook gonna land right here onto Kael. Of course, he does have the battle dance to be able to get himself back away, but that's a good chunk for the bottom lane of FPX. And the solo kill topside. You pick the Gnar because it's a good matchup into the Renekton. But as you said, there's a tiny little window right there where Flandre turns mini, doesn't have an ability to get Mega at that point, and Flandre takes his option, and Sheer runs him straight down.
Chases him through the hop as well. Flandre. Yeah. Gotta be careful in those moments where, yeah, he had a major health advantage, but that doesn't matter once you have no abilities that can threaten a disengage like that. These are the windows that FPX have to look for. Remember, this is a composition that is built all on early advantages and snowballing by the time you get to that mid-game state before anyone's legend scaling starts to kick in later the game goes on. So now that Flandre has no flash, if I'm IYY, if I'm Kael, if I'm Jwei, I am booking it to my Renekton and helping him just completely destroy this Gnar.
And this is going to be a really important matchup to have won for the rest of the game. As this Renekton, you are a ton of this early bit of engage. Yeah, you've got the little bit of point and click onto Jwei, you've got yourself the charm, but in terms of actual full engage, it's going to be Sheer's job to be jumping into the backline, and he needs as much survivability, as many items in inventory as possible to ensure that he can stand up to the damage of Shanks and Hope and force them out of comfortable positions in these team fights.
And the TP flanks are going to be just as crucial as well, because trying to blitz your way through the front door as a Renekton is pretty damn hard to do, especially with all of the engage and disengage tools that anyone's legend have at their disposal. But if you find a good flank in Fog of War, they're not going to be paying attention, and suddenly Big Angry Croc flashes on top of your carry. What are you supposed to do at that point?
At that point, you really need to hope that you've got IYY ready with a pillar, with something to be able to just keep that follow-up going through. Otherwise, yeah, kill's going to be going over. Grubs going to now spawn onto the rift. Neither of these teams, I think, are so much about the grubs as we've seen in a couple of the previous games. Still, you would always like to pick it up onto a team with a Trundle, with a Renekton. The split push can be decent. AL, they've got their bot lane up on the top side of the map, though, so they do have a couple members around if they want to potentially go for the contest. The issue is Tarzan. He's headed down to the bottom side of the map. He's got a long walk up top lane if he wants to get there.
Oh, Tarzan has jumped onto JiaQi. Culling comes out, chunks Tarzan below 50% HP, sends it with the Cataclysm, flashes away. Now JiaQi is in a little trouble. Finally waits to flash over the Emperor's Divide.
Oh!
Tarzan is still in there, throwing his life just for the fade, and anyone's legend still come out on top. Tarzan will get dropped by Cares Ari, but hashtag worth in the chat for Shanks to pick up the kill onto JiaQi's Lucian.
Tarzan, fantasy feat right there, and giving the kill over to Shanks. Again, a critical member to begin getting towards that scaling option. Now the topside action just does not stop. Sheer huge chunk of damage taken off of him. Jwei also getting jumped. Shanks just about going to be able to get over that pillar, otherwise that charm landing would have spelled his demise. And this game, as much as there aren't a ton of kills going over early, the action just not stopping.
And I'm curious to see how anyone's legend secured a grub when they didn't have their jungler with them. I'm very positive that FPX had the numbers advantage on the top side. Can I get a replay, please? Okay, well, we're gonna get a replay of this quick pick onto Lucian instead.
I mean, JiaQi kind of goes for this fight because he knows he wins this in the 1v1, but Shanks just gets here quicker. And JiaQi still does a pretty good job. Nice flash to avoid that Emperor's Divide. One more auto over the wall, and he's going to be able to pick up that kill. JiaQi literally doesn't trade that 1-1-for-1 himself because he doesn't have a ward available to him. It's rough.
Also looking at the top side, it showed that Hope's Corky secured a grub. I'm going to be so sad for IYY if he lost it to, like, a stray rocket phosphorus bomb combo.
Surely, right? Because they were all over it. You only had your bot lane available to go for that play topside for AL. The fact they're able to get one of the grubs is rough. All three would have been a lovely benefit over to FPX. Still, it does move them towards the feat of monster slaying. They're able to pick up that first Drake as well. So now, 1 minute, 20 seconds until the Drake comes up. If you're able to grab that one, you would secure Jwei. He should be able to walk this one out.
JiaQi is right behind him, but he can't really step up to really do a lot of damage. The Cataclysm on JiaQi forces him to dash away with that relentless pursuit. And at the end of the day, Jwei does survive at the cost of his own flash, but now this is a wave that JiaQi is not going to be able to safely contest if all members from anyone's legend continue to stay, but as I say that, Jwei is able to teleport back, and that will give JiaQi the safety he needs.
I love Spellbook. Very, very nice to be able to grab that one. Jwei, gonna hunt on forwards, not gonna be able to find a Flandre who has already headed back to base. 40 seconds now until this Drake is gonna be available, and this is a big one for FPX. Feat of Monster Slaying would be really nice for them. Also, at a skirmish that happens, a third kill for FPX would secure them those boots, and hey, in this kind of composition, some extra movement speed, a little bit of extra resistances would be lovely.
Considering that FPX's composition really needs to hit that mid-game stride hard and very, very explosively so that anyone's legend do not have an easy time of being able to recover.
Yep.
That's the pillar of success that FPX need to be able to find for themselves in just a few seconds.
Where's the setup coming through? Right now, a lot of vision for FPX is now going to be Kael and Hope stepping up, getting a little bit of return vision for themselves. That could be a potentially good TP flank angle for Flandre. Oh, Flandre's just used the TP, actually. Decided to head back to lane in the top side a little bit early on. I'm surprised to see that he did that, especially with the Drake spawning on bottom side of the map. Sheer does have teleport available, so this could turn into a numbers advantage for FPX.
I mean, Tarzan's already on the top side of the map. I'm not sure if anyone's legend is even interested. Hope and Kael are around just to play deterrence. Tarzan is finally making his way over to the dragon, so I guess his team was able to stall enough time. It looked like he also dropped the Krugs, even though he was working his way towards it. I was curious if AL were going to try to look for a play to help Flandre snowball and hit that Trinity Force spike by playing towards Sheer, but they're playing for the contest now.
Absolutely, they are. And this is the worry. Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
Kael
no!
comes over
Jwei.
the wall. IYY is able to flash, but Jwei is in a world of trouble. No flash available on this Nautilus. The Cataclysm locks him down, and Tarzan is able to flash away from Kael. The feat of warfare is secured from anyone's legend. The follow-up from JiaQi, maybe with the culling, not going to be enough to take out Hope. And Kael just cannot safely get in and threaten the backline.
Nope, snap engage right there from AO comes on through, and they're able to pick themselves up all of the kills that they needed. Feat of Warfare going to be picked up. IYY is not here. They're still going to look for a potential steal away. That's surprising. Might as well just throw out the charm. No, Tarzan is going to be able to smite this one through, and AL grab themselves their first Drake of the game.
Damn, that is... I'm not sure what to say, Bloxxer, but
The
Kael...
difference here... Kael, this is just bad. But the problem in this situation for FPX is that they're on the blue side. They tried to start this Drake up twice, and every time, because of blue side, they're having to walk so far around that it allows AL to cut them off, to find those flanks, to pull them out of position a little bit. And this is the rough thing about blue. You have to find that fight first. You can't afford to get caught in the pit, because you will just get yourself stuck in a situation you can't get out of.
And unfortunately for FPX, no one was really on a first item spike to feel empowered or emboldened to really force that first engage. Anyone's Legend had a Gnasher's Tooth empowered Shanks going into that fight, if memory serves correctly. If not, then I guess Anyone's Legend just had way more confidence in FPX to send it, and they come out rewarded now that a majority of their members have hit their first item spikes. Finally for FPX, we see Trinity Force, Stridebreaker, Malignance, and Essence Reaper all completed now. This is still a window where FPX should feel like they are a strong team, if not stronger than Anyone's Legend, just in item stats. Don't let the gold number fool you. It is a few hundred gold difference.
Absolutely, and you need to be finding these as picks rather than straight up 5v5 team fights. That's where AL's composition is really going to be thriving. But if you can just grab one member, put that full culling down into them, they are going to drop lots of damage available to JiaQi right now. And stepping up into this mid lane, controlling this wave, and heading on over towards this Herald. Herald going to be critical right now. Cracking open this mid lane tower, very important to the game plan of FPX.
And the secure of this objective would mean the objective feat secured as well for FPX. And that could lead into feats of warfare with the turret, as you called out. Herald is secured for IYY, but now Anyone's Legend are fiending for an engage. Tarzan no flash, but has EQ as well as the Cataclysm. Shanks poking and prodding with these Sand Soldiers, and Anyone's Legend just starting to bully them out of the jungle. Sheer gets jumped on, only for Tarzan to go back with the Blast Cone. And Anyone's Legend don't get anyone off FPX in terms of summoner spells or really any major health spells, but they're still showing the fact that they are kind of the ones dictating the map when it comes to just walking up to them.
Yeah. Able to all just stand as one big group. Now Shanks is going to be chased down right here. Pops Sheer back, and actually he's going to be able to walk this one out.
Oh, Tarzan
the knockup!
Forces the Cataclysm, but nice knockup from Kael. Can Shanks follow up with the damage of his own? Sheer is too big on the croc, goes in with a slice and dice. Shanks is going to get dropped here unless he flashes away to the safety of Hope. Sheer finds Kael, but they blow up Jwei, and Sheer can't get through, but JiaQi follows up with the culling and takes out the Golden Emperor himself. Hope pops the barrier, but it's a quick turn from Tarzan. JiaQi for the flash. Hope follows up. Anyone's Legend goes big on the top side.
There we go. Hope finally arriving to that team fight is what swings the fight in the favor of AL. The Corki right here with the Trinity Force in inventory is just going to be stronger. And on the backside of this play, it's also going to be a tower over to AL. Big swing in gold for them right now. Bring their lead up to about 2,000. And that was a fight that looked like it was going so well for FPX. It's an initial engage onto Shanks. He uses the Emperor's Divide defensively to get that big old crocodile off of him. But at this point, I'm like, okay, you've got tons of damage onto some of these key members right now for FPX. They just get kited, though. Everybody's able to survive on slivers of HP. Shanks draws the fight out for a little while longer. You're able to get away and then find that little bit of re-engage right here out of Tarzan. And Hope, he's the main difference maker. He arrives and all of a sudden that Corki damage is just pumping through.
At one point, Bloxxer, Tarzan was like 10 HP.
Yeah, he is a sneeze away from fallen at that point.
And then by the end of the fight, he's like back to 50% HP. That's the power of Triumph and Sundered Sky working hand in hand. Not to even mention the little bit of healing you're getting from Conquer. It's just another example of Tarzan knowing how to play his limits through these skirmish scenarios and what just edges him out to be one of the best jungles we have at the LPL when he's playing at peak form.
Absolutely. Harold, though, going to go down into this top lane, and with all of these members available for FPX, it's going to be a hard engage. AL, go for it.
Dude, Tarzan buffered the EQ through the dredge line. Shanks pushes them all back with the Ember Line, and Hope is here. Look at the damage that is coming through. Kael finally arrives at the party as reinforcements, but is it enough to take out Hope on this Corki? He has no barrier, he has no flash. Kael finally goes huge and is able to save FPX from certain disaster. For the first time this series, FunPlus Phoenix find a massive fight.
But it's a 4v5 situation. I'm not sure why AL go so aggressive right there. They're just not quite able to get the damage down onto Sheer, and the healing from the Crocodile coming on through. IYY now going to be able to rip this tower to pieces as well. And finally, FPX, they get themselves a foothold in this series.
And yet, at the end of the day, Bloxxer, FPX are barely holding out a very, very small gold advantage. This is big for them, but they need to be able to replicate this success more times before anyone's legend can scale fully online.
This is still super close to being a teamfight win right here for AL in the 4v5. IYY just about manages to get away. The Sheer goes so low, but the damage just is not available, and those Cullens just coming through, getting the big damage down. Picture in picture, as we were just watching, AL able to sneak themselves away a Drake. So that is going to be something good into their pockets, but they are now down in gold for the first time this series.
And FPX really need to ensure that they are not stopping on the gas here. They need to slam on the accelerator pedal because the game does not get easier the longer it goes from this point on. They've already hit major item spikes. It's now 2 items for JiaQi's Lucian. It's 2 items for Kaer's Ahri. They have to now just start slamming these fights over and over to make sure that anyone's legend are bending and playing to their tempo. But FPX trying to use the Otacon to bait them in.
Foot at this point for FPX cannot come off of the accelerator. They need to just keep up the tempo of this game, or they will get washed away by an AL composition that's going to start spiking really, really hard at that next item. Shanks now has got himself that Rylai's, the Nashers. He really needs just a little bit of extra AP in inventory to be able to really deal that damage. Same thing for Hope as well. Third item, that's where this composition is going to be absolutely terrifying. So for FPX, keep the tempo high, keep being aggressive, and see what you can do to force the issue.
FPX probably showing their best showing so far in this series. Otacon getting started up. We'll see if anyone's legend will respond. Teleport comes out from Flandre. He has just hit Meganar, so he has to send it before it times out. It's getting super close. He has flash available. Can he get into the pit? Tarzan steals the Otacon! Are you kidding me? FPX are just losing members one after another. Sheer is chased out of the river. Kael is running for his life on the Spirit Rush, forced to flash away. It could not have gone any worse for FPX, and anyone's legend gonna want more. That's the power of the pandas.
Everything goes right for AL in that fight, and there's just nothing you can do. JiaQi, okay, he's going to be able to survive this one still. It's going to be the mid lane tower falling as well, and just after things go right for FPX, it all goes wrong.
What was a few hundred gold difference for FPX now is a 3,000 gold advantage for anyone's legend. Okay, wait a minute. Sheer TP's in. Hope pops the barrier. Tarzan is called upon for resistance. The EQ. It's not enough. And just like that, maybe FPX can swing themselves back in, but it's still an Otacon secured and an overall 2,000 gold advantage for AL.
But Sheer, he's such a big croc, and that triple kill gonna go a heck of a long way towards getting him into a better spot in this game. FPX, they're fighting back, they're showing signs of life in a game that felt entirely AL favored.
I can't wait to see the replay, Bloxxer, because I want to see how close the Otacon was on the HP bar before he stole it away from IYY.
Gotta be so low. It's gotta be so close. Because this is a mess of a team fight, right? Sheer decides to go in onto Tarzan, trying to body block the Jarvan out, but he goes way too early, easily allowing in. No! That's just beautiful. That's just a gorgeous smite right there. 50-50 all the way. And Tarzan comes out on top of that one. Looking back at this play, yeah, Sheer is a big boy at this point. He's just come off of reset as well, and the healing that he gets every single time he swings through that axe.
More fighting. Quickness from Kael stuns up all the members and charms them up. Flandre's about to go mega. Shanks already dropped the big croc, and now Tarzan is looking for more. Kael has one more charge of that Spirit Rush, but he doesn't have any more to go. The EQ lands for the knockup. That's the ace for anyone's legend. That's what I'm talking about.
Beautiful fight right there. We missed the start of it, but AL, as we've been saying, getting those item breakpoints online, and unless Sheer can properly get onto these carries, it's very tricky for FPX to be able to win these ones through. What can you do here as AL off the back of that ace? Pick themselves up the mid lane tier 2 tower, get themselves full control over this spawning Drake in a couple of seconds as well. AL, they are just running the rift. Again, every time it looks good for FPX, AL just snapped that momentum back. What happens here? Sheer has stepped way far forwards. He's just insta-caught. And now you can't play the fight at this point from Sheer. And that, yeah, this is the moment which we jump in. Beautiful Shurima Shuffle coming on through. Just pushes the Crocodile back. Without any of that healing, without any of that damage available to you from Sheer, it's just a fight that is over before it really gets off the ground.
And unfortunately for this composition that FPX had, we already talked about the concerns of this draft. If you are not able to get ahead early and just slam the mid-game forward, then you're damned if you do not fight, and you're damned if you do fight. So it just ends up, unfortunately, being a pro difference here for anyone's legend in these fights. And speaking of which, shout out to prodiff.gg, one of the sponsors that does make this show happen. If you want to improve your game with one of the former or current pros from LTA, NACL, or the ERLs, use the code LPL10 to save 10% on a one-on-one today.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, if there's any help they can do for team fighting, I think some of these clips from this game here are likely ones we're going to want some of these pro diff analysts to look back at, because these have been absolutely insane. AL keep on coming out on top though, as they often do, defending champions for a reason, and currently they're looking to get a little bit of a pincer onto an FPX moving towards Baron.
Look at the wrap, Tarzan. Does FPX even know that the Jarvan is around the corner? Shanks might be spotted here, but have they spotted the Jarvan? Did they forget about J4? Okay, he shows himself with the lance. Anyone's legend just going to wrap back around to the mid lane. FPX are going to try to pressure for this Baron. That is their last ditch effort, their last Hail Mary they've got in the book. Otherwise, anyone's legend can just run away with the remainder of this game.
Absolutely. FPX though, oh no, immediately jumped his care. Does he have enough dashes to get away? Yes, but that's a huge chunk of his health bar just gone.
Okay, Kael now following up. Tarzan sends it, gets popped by JiaQi. Now up to the remaining 4 members of anyone's legend, but they're about to burn down through Sheer. It's an even numbers fight. It's an advantage for anyone's legend. The rest of Hope and Shanks can step on up. He absorbs the charm. Emperor's Divide right through the heart of JiaQi. It's another ace for anyone's legend.
They're going to be able to find that fight, and the second that the Crocodile falls, that's going to be one for AL. They're going to turn this around into the Baron, and this is going to be the final march, you have to imagine, towards that base to just put FPX down in the dirt once again. A critical matchup right here. AL need this win to keep themselves out of the play-ins, to get that automatic spot into the playoffs, and so far, so good.
We take a look back at this replay. As you called it, Bloxxer, it all starts with the engage on the Kael, and once he's using Spirit Rush to disengage, it's so hard for them to turn.
And it's a really good bit of engage right here from Kael. The second that Jwei tries to go in, lands himself that dredge line, immediately pops the ulti and just stops any of that real follow-up. If everybody's able to keep on going off the back of that Jwei fight, maybe you're able to turn that into a teamfight win, but Kael says no, snaps that one in half, and that's a one teamfight for AL that turns into the Baron, that turns into some towers, and the Dragon. Soul point now for AL.
And while in game 1, the gold lead was evenly dispersed across all members, this game, it's all been about Shanks. Massive 3,000 gold advantage over Kael, which is pretty disappointing for the mid laner of FPX, because we saw that he was one of the crucial reasons why FPX found that critical turnaround on the top side of the map just what seemed like 10 minutes ago. But it has all been dashed away because Shanks has just proved to be much more influential on the Azir in these fights.
He's been really, really good, and this has got to be pretty cathartic right here for Shanks. He had a bad time against Cream in that top matchup. but this time around has really just had the better of his opponent. 10-11, 3 items and the arm guard. This is the final stand.
Oh, EQ into the Cataclysm. Good night, FPX. The Phoenix will not rise again after this one. They're staying dead, and anyone's legend going to just rip them a new one as they tear their base down to utter embers. Anyone's legend sweep the series against FPX.
We get the 4-0 day right here, something nobody were really expecting coming on in. We thought somebody was surely going to throw themselves a matchup, but no. Anyone's legend, 2-0 this one. This one's closer, right? It was a very one-sided match in game number 1. Game 2, FPX find a couple of moments. Sheer, really good performance right there on the Crocodile. Found a couple of moments where I was like, hey, maybe he can carry the team on through. But unfortunately, AL, they're just better. And that's one of the cleanest games I think they've had in terms of that pure team fighting. They were finding some brilliant angles.
The Croc, unfortunately, was not strong enough to hold back anyone's legend, and this sometimes is just the end result of some of our teams here at the bottom of Group Ascend when they go up against some of our more competitive teams, where you can have an individual standout, but it does really require the whole team coming together and being able to use that advantage and leverage it off of the in a way that makes it so that you have a real strong advantage that is not just a few hundred gold or 1,000 gold. It's got to be more. And we talked about it, Bloxxer. As soon as Sheer found the window and got a solo kill on Flandre, we were begging, okay, try and push that into the dirt.
Yeah. Nope. But unfortunately, as much as you want them to really push the advantage up towards the top side of the map, AL, they are such a tricky team to do that into, because Kael was just stopping a bunch of these engages from coming through. Really nice performance from him on the Rakan. Hope as well, just pumping the damage on the Corki. Shanks all over this game. He was so strong on the Azir, was able to find some massive Emperor's Divides as well, and it meant that, yeah, Flandre, maybe he's not having the best time of it, but they were even able to go send him into the side lane to keep pushing towers to get himself a little bit of extra gold, hit those item break points, and then he was able to rejoin the rest of the team, and they were waning from there.
Flandre was able to pick himself back up because of anyone's legend being able to occupy FunPlus Phoenix on the cross map multiple times. And the funny fact is, Bloxxer, is that half of the fights, and